This is our project about North Korea by Kody and Rylen. Starting in the late 1940s, the North Koreans came to Canada as seminary students, and it skyrocketed in the 1990s. According to the 2021 Canadian census, there are approximately 218,140 Korean Canadians in Canada. The first recorded Korean to immigrate to Canada was Tae-yeon Wang, who came to Canada when there were only 70 Koreans in the whole country, because most people went to the United States and other surrounding countries instead of Canada. Ontario had the most Koreans in Canada as of 2021, and that number is 100,025. And right behind that is British Columbia with 72,025. And Alberta has a population of 24,170 Koreans. In 2007, a study showed that 72,077 Koreans in Canada had permanent residencies and 20,735 people had student visas, and 19,277 other people had temporary residency. Naengmyeon is one of the most popular dishes in North Korea, and it is made of handmade noodles and different ingredients, such as buckwheat, potatoes, sweet potatoes, arrowroot, starch, and kutsu. It is consumed in the summer instead of the winter, like in historical times. Doltori mok is a Korean food made from acorn starch, and doltori contains lots of starch and proteins. Acorns contain large amounts of tannins, which prevents the human body from digesting properly. Doltori mok was created during the Japanese invasion of Korea when the dynasty King Seongo took refuge in the north, but the food supply was short because of wars, so the villagers hurriedly made him doltori mok. Also, after he returned to the palace after the war, the king still eats it to remember the hardship of war. First off, before I recommend you one place to visit in North Korea, you probably should not consider visiting North Korea in the first place because of the laws and death risks, such as taking a picture of a building can cost you your whole life. So just go to places like Hawaii and Thailand. So the place you should visit in North Korea is the Kumsusan Palace, where Kim Il-sung lived and died. The palace was built in 1976 as an assembly hall for meetings and conferences for the government, and the building is still running till this day. I know Korean is one of the hardest languages to learn in the world, but don't worry, I'm here to teach you 5 phrases in Korean, starting with hi. So hi in Korean is 안녕. 안녕. Next is please. Please in Korean is jeb-I. Jeb-I. And next is thanks. Thanks in Korean is 감사요. 감사요. And excuse me is sini habinda. Sini habinda. And last, saying goodbye in Korean is 안녕히. 안녕히. So that comes to the end of my part. So now is the second Kwan's turn now. But I'm still the better one though.
This is the North Korean flag. The red star represents communism, red panels represent patriotism, the white stripes represent unification and culture, with the blue stripes representing unity. Their culture heavily relies on its government and socialist ideology, as the government controls most aspects of cultural expressions, including music, art, and media. The government promotes a sense of national unity and pride, with an emphasis on the country's independence and self-reliance. This is reflected by the art, which depicts workers and soldiers in heroic poses, and in propaganda posters and murals that hang in public spaces. Dancing and music are also important parts of North Korean culture. The country has a rich tradition of folk music and dance, which often celebrates the natural beauty of the Korean peninsula and the virtues of the working class. North Korea has a tightly controlled movie culture that reflects the country's political ideology and serves as a powerful tool for propaganda. The film industry in North Korea is primarily state-controlled, with the government playing a central role in the production and distribution of film. Kim Jong-un has a significant influence over content and direction of North Korean cinema. For all the basketball fans, North Korea has their own basketball league with its own wacky set of rules, which includes dunking equal 3 points. 3-pointers are worth 4 points. If It's nothing but net. 1 point deducted for every missed free throw. Games can end in ties, and anything in the last 3 seconds are worth 8 points. Kim Jong-un was born January 8, 1983, with his birthplace being Pyongyang, North Korea. He came to power after his father's death in 2011. He was relatively young and inexperienced at the time, and his ascension to leadership raised questions about the stability and future direction of North Korea. During his rule, he's chosen to pursue military development, especially nuclear development, as well as ballistic missile programs, which made other countries tense, particularly the USA. Under his leadership, North Korea conducted several nuclear missile tests, which led to the imposition of economic sanctions. He has also engaged in high-profile meetings with world leaders, such as the historic summits with the South Korean President Moon Jae-in and U.S. President Donald Trump in 2018. North Korea has 71 holidays in total. The holiday that I'll tell you about is probably the most interesting. The Day of the Sun is the day that celebrates Kim Il-sung's birthday. Korea began the day by paying respects to various monuments and statues around the city. It is often reflected to as North Koreans' equivalent of Christmas. As early as midnight, people lay commemorative wreaths and floral baskets at thousands of statues of Kim Il-sung around the country. They do all of this because Kim Il-sung is their only true leader.